All right, Jabbar, thank you so much. I really appreciate you and I appreciate your team and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with entrepreneurs and small business owners. I do this often. I am a full-time college professor at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. I teach in the Block Business School, and I've been doing it for the past 5 years now. Before that, corporate America, spent several years in Atlanta, Georgia, with my own business, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And I also spent some time in Los Angeles. I've lived there for a few years early in my corporate career. Lived, what is it, off Sepulveda and Van Nuys in the Valley. So very familiar, have family there now. I was just out there recently, the end of last year, my wife and I was out there. But I love working with small businesses. I teach entrepreneurship. I have a small business program that I teach a cohort every year. I'm recruiting for it here in Kansas City now, and we do it every year for the past 2 years. So I really enjoy working with small businesses and helping them to really understand what's next and how to be successful. Um, it's not something that I just teach. I was an entrepreneur and I still am. I coach and I teach not only here, but I do the same thing over in Cape Town, South Africa for the past 4 years. I teach at the University of the Western Cape and I teach throughout the township. So really committed to it and helping. And I also spent some time with my own business, very successful and then not so successful. So I understand the ups and downs of business and how it works. One of the things that I really stress, and that's important to me, is how we think, how we process information. I add this, I have a whole workshop series on this, so I want to give you the very, very short version. But how we think and how we process information makes the world of difference. You have two people getting the exact same information, but they're thinking differently. Their brain is thinking differently. Oftentimes, when we are entrepreneurs, small business owners, and we're in the grind, we're in the business, we are in survival mode. How do we get through just today? Reacting, protecting immediate problems, fear and stress, short-term thinking. That's kind of the thinking that we're doing. The other way is we're in the thinking mode. How do we solve this? Analyzing, planning, connecting, making decisions, solving problems. For today's presentation, hopefully going forward, I need you in the thinking mode. What am I going to get out of this? How am I going to put this in place in my planning, in my strategy? How am I going to truly take advantage of this presentation and the other presentations that are going to come after that? And we're not just struggling with day to day. We stop and we figure out, all right, what is our planning? What is our strategy? Now, do I understand that's difficult? Absolutely. Is it sometimes it's unrealistic? Absolutely. But we have to work towards that. We have to be problem solvers, not always dealing with the problem. Real quick story. Last week, I took my family on a family vacation down in Orlando. And one of the things we went to was SeaWorld. We went to Disney, we did all that, but we also went to SeaWorld. And my wife bought one of those cups that you can keep refilling. And so we bought it when we first got to the park, and we went to it was actually four stations, and where you could fill it up, but they were out of ice. The first one, oh, we don't have ice. We're going to get it real quickly. Okay. We went to the second one. Now the temperature is approaching 100, so it's extremely hot. And so they don't even have cold soda. They have warm soda. And so we went to the second place. We're out of ice. Went to the third station. We're out of ice. And then the fourth one finally admitted, he said, hey, the whole park is out of ice. And we do not know when we're going to get it back in. Okay, so we're going to return the cup. We don't want the cup now. Cup costs, I don't know, $10. So we go to return it, and the cashier can't return it. So she has to get the manager. So the manager comes over and she said, is something wrong with the cup? And my wife, and I'm trying to be the passive, just kind of standing there. And my wife was doing all of it. She says, there's no ice in the park. And so the cup is of no use. Immediately, the manager said, that's not our fault. It's Ready Ice's fault. And then, my classes are starting in a month. So I love original material. And I knew I had this webinar. So I said, let me just jump in here. I said, so the cup that you're selling that has SeaWorld on it, you're selling those, correct? Yes, we're selling those. They're big sellers. You're selling them without ice. And she kind of paused for a second because she kind of knew where I was going. Oh, we can't stop selling. No, those are big sellers. My point is, she had no strategy. She was dealing with the problem. Once she relieved herself of the responsibility, she was okay with everything else. We have to make sure that we are problem solvers, not just placing blame. If your first question is always, who's to blame? Who caused this? Your strategy is wrong. Your first question should be, how do we solve it? And so I need you thinking that way. That's very critical, very critical. So my background, especially in, the supply chain, I had a business in Atlanta, Georgia, Carolina Distributing. I distributed bottled water and non-alcoholic beverages throughout Atlanta. I started it from scratch and just kind of built it up. Water accounted for about 60% of my business. Was I all detailed like I should have been? No. If I was, I'd probably still be in Atlanta with my company. But we did very well. This is an article that they wrote about me as the company grew. All the things that I teach now, and I know better now, and I'm wiser because I'm older and more experienced, and my business struggled and failed. Was my pricing correct? No. Was all of my supplies correct? No. And I'm a sales guy. And yes, I'm going to share the PowerPoint afterwards. I'll give it to them. I saw that come up real quick. Yes, I plan to share this. And one of the biggest things, I'm a sales guy, I'm a sales and marketing guy, not a finance person. Every time I went into a store and maybe they had a blank spot or somewhere like, what goes there? Orange juice. I said, well, if I give you a free orange juice, would you put me in that slot? Yep. Okay, I go to the next one. If you give me a free apple juice, will you give me that spot? If I give you a free cranberry juice, water, give me that slot. Kept going it. I cannot tell you right now or then how many free cases I gave away. You talking about inventory management? I had none. I couldn't tell you how many boxes I had in the warehouse. I just knew I was moving them. I'm sales. I was moving them as fast as I can get them. All of those things make a difference. And I can't even tell you whether I gave away the $4 cost of a case or the $10 wholesale of a case. All of these things matter when you're talking about inventory. And I didn't do very well with it, but I understand it now. I understand what I should have done and all the different costs. Because as my company grew, my costs grew, but my price didn't grow. So I'm trying to handle bigger costs on the same revenue and profit from the beginning. So I wanted to let you know that I understand this, and I've suffered the results of me not knowing better and doing better and really understanding my inventory, what I have that's cash money. So every time I gave away a case, I'm actually just pulling money out my pocket and giving it to them. So I understand how all of that works, and I understand now how it should work better. So,
Hey, Marvin, real quick. Hey, are you sharing your slides because we can't see the slides?
I was sharing them. Let me share them again. Hold on.
Yeah, sure.
And maybe it bounced me out. Thank you.
There you go. Okay. Perfect.
Everybody got it
Perfect.
now?
Yep.
All right.
Perfect. Yep.
So I want to go back to this slide. I just went over it, but just these are the difference between survival mode and thinking mode. And as entrepreneurs, small business owners, we just catch a lot of things. So most of the time we're in survival mode, but we need to be in thinking mode. How we process information quickly and effectively, how we analyze, how we plan. We need to be in that mode. So it doesn't matter the presentation. The other presentation you go through, you still need to be in thinking mode. So that's going to be very important. So let me get over here, repeat this. And that's the article that I told you they wrote about me when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do with my inventory, when I wasn't accounting for it properly, when I wasn't selling it properly. So, but we were very successful. We grew, I don't want to say too fast. I was in business for 7 years, did a great job, but the pricing of my inventory, as I continued to add a truck, add a driver, same pricing. And so oftentimes, and I'm guilty of it too, I was just pricing it to the prices next to me. I didn't want my orange juice to get too out of line with the Tropicana that was next to me. I didn't want my apple juice. I didn't want my other products to get too far out of line, even though my costs were going up. So we have to really be aware of these things when we're working with inventory. Inventory is cash. That's an asset to your company. And giving it away at a lesser price and not charging enough profit will really hurt your business. So, a couple of things that I want you to walk away with today is your inventory framework, vendor strategy map, smart supply action plan, risk reduction tools, and supplier resilience mindset. Very important. Very important. Recent disruptions have taught us inventory shortages happen. Vendors can disappear overnight. Costs can rise unexpectedly. Customers still expect service. Cash flow can suffer quickly. The question that I ask you, and there's going to be several questions that I want you to deal with. If your primary supplier stopped delivering tomorrow, what would happen to your business? What would happen to your business? And I want you to think about it, write it down. You could take notes. But what would happen? Your primary supplier stopped supplying to you. SeaWorld's primary supplier of ice stopped supplying to them on a 100-degree day. Did they have a backup plan? So it's not just small businesses. SeaWorld is a very big business. And it was shocking to me that they didn't make their own ice, that they were dependent on ready ice. I think that's what she said, to supply them with their ice. But if your primary supplier stopped, what would happen? Learning objective. What you will learn? Managing inventory effectively. Just things that I need you to think about your inventory. Strengthening supplier relationships. Most of small businesses don't have a relationship. They just deliver to me, I pay them, we keep moving. That's not a relationship. I need them to understand my business and I need to understand their business better. Build backup vendor strategies. I need 2 or 3 vendors bidding against each other for my business so that I can get the best price. Small business, hey, I got a vendor, they deliver to me, I'm happy. No, we got to bid that price. Depending on your pricing, every small increment makes a difference on what you can, charge. So if you can negotiate down with 2 or 3 vendors, it's very helpful. Very helpful. Create flexible business systems that work for you. Shift from reactive to strategic thinking. Thinking, processing information is huge. It's not a small thing. I'll hit that again and again and again because if you're thinking reactively, that's what we're going to get, reaction. And those results are different than if we thought strategically and we were planning. We knew this was coming. We expected it. It's a downturn. It's wintertime. It's summertime. My businesses thrive in this time. We expect things and we put things in place. Cost of being unprepared, which obviously I've suffered from. Inventory problems, overstocking, understocking, dead inventory. We have the inventory that we have in our warehouse that hasn't moved in months, and our money is tied up in that. Vendor problems. We have just one per item, and we have no flexibility. If they go up on prices, we just got to pay more. Is it easy finding new vendors? No, but we have to put that into effect. We have to try. Single source dependency, same thing. Poor communication between us and our vendors. How well do we communicate? Sometimes we don't feel as though we're big enough to really amount to much in their big scheme of things. So we don't communicate as well. Deliveries delayed, business impact. All of these things we need to make sure that we're aware. And probably some of the biggest things are lost sales, frustrated customers, reduced profitability. Big things that we need to understand better as we go forward. Assets, knowing your inventory and the risks. These are the ABCs of supply. Build, create backup systems and relationships. How often do we get a chance to do all of these things when we're working in our business? Continuously improve, monitor, adjust, and strengthen. These are all the things that we need to understand of how to build a really good supply chain. Build a resistant supply chain, not just a purchasing process. I buy it, I sell it. I buy it, I sell it. We really have to pay attention to all of these things as we build our framework. I want us to ask, literally, I want us to ask these questions of ourselves. Which products generate the most revenue? And right along with that, more importantly, is which ones produce the most profitability? You can sell less of it and make more money. Do we know these things right now? As we're sitting here, do we have something on our phone, on our laptops that will tell us exactly what generates the most revenue? Which items are the hardest to replace? Do we know that? We have 15 different SKUs, 10 different SKUs. Which one is the hardest? Which products customers expect every time? What is the big thing that they're expecting every time? I want you to, if you can write this down as we're going through this, identify your top 5 critical items and why. Maybe it's the top 2, maybe it's the top 3. But why are those your critical items? They give me the most revenues. They give me the most profitability. It's what my brand is based on. All of those things are critical. And how we do that is very critical. So identify your top 5 critical items. So I want you to do that. I'm going to keep talking, but I want you to make sure that you start identifying. If you don't do it now, write the question down and make sure you do it afterwards. Too much inventory. What does it do? It ties up cash, increases storage cost, creates waste. If you have items that have expiration dates, it's even worse. Too little inventory, we have lost sales. Customer dissatisfied with what's going on. Operational stress. How do we find the balance? Do we have a spreadsheet? Do we have anything else that's more complicated? And I will tell you this, and I saw the future list. I believe there's AI and artificial intelligence. I'm a little older, and my business didn't have AI. You can put any question you want in there. I have this business. This is my inventory. How can I manage it better? You write that in the chat box and click enter, and it will give you an answer. Boy, I wish I had it. I'd be sitting somewhere in the Bahamas right now, relaxing with my business, but I didn't have that. And what we have to make sure that we're using our technology. AI is critical right now. It is making life a lot easier for small businesses in particular to be successful. You start putting these things in the chat box, and it gives you all the answers that you need. I know inventory levels. These are things that I need you to rate, and you can do it real quickly. I track inventory regularly. I forecast future needs. I'll repeat that. I forecast future needs. For the month of September and October, I'm going to need this much based on what? Based on last year, based on your growth. I know my best-selling items. And sometimes your best-selling items are not your most profitable. You need to understand that. But if they attract people to your company, it's a good thing. I know my slow-moving items. On a scale from 1 to 5, I need you to rate yourself. It's yours, it's not mine. You can rate yourself on how well you know these things. I know them very well. Give myself a 5. I know I should do better. Give myself a 1. On most of these, on my business back in the day, I'm a 1 or a 2. But I sold a lot. I can tell you I sold a lot. My business grew like crazy. That's why they wrote the article about me. But growing and making money and being profitable are two separate things. If it was just about how much I sold, yes, I still would be in business, but it's about profitability. Are you selling your items at a profit? What are your biggest gaps? What are your biggest gaps in knowing your inventory, tracking inventory regularly, and what tools do you have? What tools have you put in place to reduce these gaps in how you're doing things? Want to make sure you understand that. This is the big one. Strengthening supplier relationships. Your vendors, your suppliers, they are a strategic partner. And they need to be a part of your business, a part of your partnership. If you're just getting orders from them, you need to change that relationship. And if you're sole sourcing, you really need to change that relationship and make sure you have a partnership and you have a relationship with them, a good relationship. Communicate regularly. This is what's going on with my business. There's going to be times that you foresee you might come up late on the invoice. Are you going to make it a surprise to them? Or are you going to tell them ahead of time? I foresee August and September being slow months for me. So is there something that I can do? My invoices are going to get paid, or maybe you're selling to somebody and your terms are different. You get paid 60 to 90 days, but they're asking you to pay 30 to 45 days. I can tell you there's going to be a cash flow problem there. But if you have the opportunity to talk to your supplier and build that relationship, it makes a big difference. And you can build the trust. If you tell me something beforehand, I have a better chance of trusting you than you just popping up late and not paying me. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about small business, these are cash flow is a very important thing. And it's very realistic of how these things work. So I want to make sure we understand that. Do you have a vendor risk assessment? How reliable are they? Have they missed shipments to you? Have they been late? Are they consistent? Are prices stable? Because every time they change the price, you got to change the price. And I didn't do that. Sometimes my supplier changed the price. I didn't change the price. So I lost money just because I was fearful of losing my business opportunities if I increase the prices. How many of your vendors understand your business and how you are growing and want to really help you grow and be successful? Do we have those type of relationships with all of our vendors? And if we don't, what does that say? If they're just so big and they kind of say, hey, you ordered 30, I delivered 30, that's the only relationship I want with you. You paid for it, I delivered it. What does that say about the relationship? So we have to find vendor relationships that work for us and that are beneficial to us and hopefully to our suppliers. Find somebody. Red flags, frequent delays, poor responsiveness, consistent pricing surprises. When I get the invoice was wrong. So these are things that I want to make sure that we're paying attention to as we grow. Backup vendors. Never depend on one source. But oftentimes, as a small business, that's what we do. We have one source, we don't have a backup. One of the things, if we are a single source company right now, the thing that you should do the rest of this day and tomorrow is start sourcing other people. So we have a backup and we start buying some things from them. Single sources they turn out to be a problem. And it may not be, oh, they deliver on time, but their pricing may be too much. And you don't know that because you don't have another vendor to compare them to. If you found another vendor and they charged you 20% less, that's a huge difference or more. So we need secondary vendors and emergency vendors. Always have at least two options for all of your products. Even if one is working really well, everyone works well until they not. And we never know what's going on with their business, which may change things for us and for them. Mapping your supply chain, your products or service, your primary supplier, your secondary supplier, lead time, risk level. How many of us actually have all of these things written down? And it's part of our mapping supply chain. Here are our products. We get them from this source and this source and this source. Here's my primary one. Here's my secondary one. My lead time is this. If you understand a lead time and it's consistent, less of your money is tied up in the warehouse. My money is moving. Their lead time, I order it, 7 days, I have it, which means I only need to have 2 weeks probably of supply, depending on how fast we move it. The idea is to keep as little of your money sitting on a shelf in your warehouse as possible. That's the critical piece. And how risky is it? Empty warehouse means you're losing money, and we cannot always afford to lose money. We can never afford to lose money. I did identify one critical item and map alternatives. I want you to identify one critical item and map alternatives. You can write these down and you can answer them later, but these are things that I want you to understand about your system and how well do we really understand our system. Depending on how we got into business and how we entered it, I have a really good friend who's a supplier and they can supply it to me and I can sell it and we don't know the pricing on it. So these are all the things that I really want us to make sure that we're paying attention to. Creating flexible systems. Are we agile and mobile, so to speak? How quickly can we adjust our system to whatever it is? New clients? Can we make decisions faster? Respond to market changes? Depending on your business, the different disruptions, which are obviously we understand are real, how quickly can we adjust to a new and different marketplace, which everything is changing for so many different reasons? So, examples, cross-training employees to do different functions, multiple suppliers, inventory tracking system, standard operating procedures. The difference between growing, scaling, successful businesses and struggling ones are these type of things right here. Do we have standard operating procedures? Every time somebody joins our company, I can give them a book. They're working in the warehouse, they're working on the floor, wherever they may be working. I don't have to redo the same information again and again. It's all written down and it's organized. Inventory tracking system. There are some very simple ones and there's some very complicated and expensive ones. But do we have a system? And to say that, well, they're too expensive, you can get a Excel spreadsheet and that be your system for now. We got to start where we are. I'm very realistic, but we have to have something that's tracking our inventory in our warehouse, wherever we're having it, and make sure it's correct. Moving from reactive to strategic, my mindset thing. I stay on this mindset thing because it's very critical. Reactive businesses, constant emergencies, last minute decision. I can't do anything else. I got to do this now because it's a last minute decision. Stress driven actions. We're making decisions out of stress. We're not thinking. Strategic businesses, planning ahead, monitoring risk, building consistent contingency plans, growing growth opportunities. As the CEO of a business and of an organization, their job description, and many of us don't do this, their job description is forecasting what's coming year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. It's not operating the daily business. A good CEO knows what's coming. The winter's coming. The weather's going to change. They know that. That is a CEO's job. Chief Executive Officer. Their job is to predict the future and understand what's coming. That's their job. If you had a job description, most people say, I'm just the head person in charge. If you're running your business, that's not what you do. You have managers, supervisors, etc., who run the business. CEO forecasts what's coming and the things that we're going to need to have in place. They understand how to use AI to make their business better. They're looking for other suppliers. They're looking for other people to sell your products or services to. Visualizing the future is what the CEO does. So being strategic is a major part of that. And we have to make sure we understand that. If you're working and people say, oh, I'm working in my business, out of my business, not even that. The CEO is forecasting what's coming a year from now. What's going to happen to your business in 2027, 2028? That is the CEO. That's their responsibility. And if you had a job description, which you should, again, go into your AI tool, if it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever it is, put in, I am the CEO of my own company and I do this. Just type it in there and press enter. And they should write out your responsibilities, and understanding them is really critical because oftentimes we don't have CEOs for the smaller companies. We have managers who are the owners and the founders of the company. The CEO is a totally different job description. I'm trying to stay right on time here. So, an action plan. I would like for in the next 30 days, we do an inventory assessment. We assess all of our inventory that we have. And everyone has inventory that's different. If you have a restaurant and I'm in Kansas City, and you have barbecue sauce, that's inventory. You have ribs. You have brisket. That is your inventory. Inventory isn't always huge boxes in a warehouse. They're what you might have in your refrigerator that you're using in the next few days. So a total inventory assessment. Next after that, I want you to do a vendor review. Review all your vendors. Who are all your vendors? For some small businesses, Costco and Sam's are your vendors. Can you expand outside of that? If those are your vendors, can you expand outside of that? Identify backup suppliers. If Costco, BJ's, Sam's didn't have it, what would you do? Implement a tracking system. For the supplies that come into you, How are you pricing that? Or how are you covering that cost? It's amazing sometimes you buy barbecue sauce and put barbecue sauce on the ribs. Is that cost covered where? Is it covered in the sale of the ribs? And if so, where? Where's the cost? Is it in your overhead? Where is it covered? In my business, I had insurance, I had drivers, I had holding costs, warehouse costs, all of these things. I did not account for it properly because it just seemed like it was like, okay, let me just sell, price these things and sell. But sometimes I got in situations, the more I sold, the worse it got because it wasn't priced properly. And I wasn't including in my price some of my costs that really drove down profit and drove down success. And also, what small improvements? What small improvements? And create a deadline. That's 4 weeks. So in the fifth week is the deadline. What small improvements do you plan on making to your business? Jump out of the day to day. Take one day, take 2 days just to map this out. We have day-to-day drama every day going on as a small business. I get it. But if we could just take 2 days to start this process and say, how do I get better? How do I become more successful? How do I become better scalable, more profitable? These are the things that I want to make sure that we're doing. All right, key takeaways. Inventory is cash. The more you have on hand, the less cash you have in your register or in your bank account. We don't want money, a whole lot of money sitting in inventory. We want to be able to turn it. We can't have a whole lot of dead inventory that's just sitting there. If that product is not selling, take it out of your inventory. Relationships matter. Relationships with our customers and relationships with our vendors. Another thing that the CEO is responsible for. You're the leader of this organization, you have the vision, and you need to make better relationships with people that you know you're going to be doing business with down the road. Can you just schedule an appointment with your vendors? Depending on who your customers are, how do you handle them? Do you do surveys? So all of these things, I want to make sure that you understand. Always have backup vendors and vendors that you have relationship with. Flexible systems win. Things are going well, things aren't going well, things are going okay. My system is a winning system. It's versatile to all the different things. Strategic businesses recover faster. Ones who understand their business, understand their industry, understand their customers and vendors. They understand it from the beginning to the end, and they understand the market that they're in. Los Angeles is a different market than San Diego, than Sacramento, than Vegas, than Phoenix. You need to understand the market you're in, and then if you go into those other markets, you have to understand those markets also and how to be successful and how do you define success. Oftentimes we have high revenue, high sales, but not high profitability. Profitability is the name of the game. We have to be able to put money in the bank, put money in investments. So I want to make sure that we do that and make sure that we're saving. It always seems so tough. We're day to day all the time, but I want to make sure that we're saving for retirement, saving for the future. Often we're so head down. Businesses are doing great. I have several clients and businesses that are doing great, and I pop the question, would you be ready for retirement in 10 years? And the answer is absolutely not. Or they think that they're going to sell this business. To sell a business for a good margin, for a good profit, you have to have data, you have to have information. And that's all we're going over today is making sure you have all that data if you plan to sell your business for retirement. So with that, I think I'm right on schedule. I like to kind of keep things on schedule. And I like to open it up for questions if you have questions of me.
Thank you, Marvin. I'll chime in real quick. This was great. I'll let folks chime in. Feel free to put your questions in the chat or, we're on Zoom, so you can hop off of mute and ask your question as well. Raise your hand or go from. But this was great. I really love the smart supply action plan, and I would like to challenge folks to really implement that, and that's kind of an optional assignment too, is to maybe before the next webinar, August 12th, feel free to put those plans together, and you can send those to LA Rise at LISC, and maybe we can give you our team can give you some feedback on that as well. We can, you know, get that going. But this was great, Marvin. Looks like we got a question from Daryl.
Hmm.
Feel free to ask your question.
Yes, thanks for having me. Mr. Marvin, I would like to know, like I had ran into a situation, I don't know what kind of, I don't know what you had to sell, but I had a situation where I was selling our signature t-shirts, jackets to some of our, then I talked to one supplier and he told me it was going to take him a long time because I guess he getting the t-shirts from China. So I'm like, okay, that's not working for me. I mean, you telling me you're going to slow boat the stuff from China. So how do you suggest I go about finding like vendors that's like, I'm in Los Angeles, California. So I need to find vendors that's here that make t-shirts here. Uh, so what do you suggest to do in a situation like that? Because if I have to wait for somebody to get it from China, then he got to make it. This man, I mean, he's really kind of killing me with the
So,
job alone.
yeah, do you make it or you just sell the t-shirts? Do you make the t-shirts?
No, I just sell the t-shirts. I buy the t-shirts with my and I go downtown a lot of times and I get like some in bulk for a set price and I put all my logos and different things. Like I have a business on the mic as a show. I have military battle the band, so we have different logos. People love them. Head of fade, hip hop, and boxing. So when we do our events, of course, and I have it's cool to be in school. So let's say we have events, I have the merchandise that people can buy, you know, like that, or they can buy it offline. My new online store is called A Positive Purchase. I'm going to sell a lot of my stuff from there, so people can buy it. But if I have a person that taking a long time, I need a better way to go about that to
Um,
get the shirts and make the shirts.
the first thing is you need to find a new vendor there locally in LA. But for long range, you need to figure out how to go to China. If you sell enough of them, you need to figure out how to get your stuff directly from China. Now, they send a bulk of stuff over and they distribute it out to several different local businesses there, whether it be LA, New York, Chicago, Kansas City, Atlanta. They bring it in bulk. If you got it from where they're getting it from, your profit margin would go up instantly. So for long range, I would suggest you figure out how to get your stuff from China. But there are several different vendors, local vendors in Los Angeles that you can find that will offer you the same or similar products. You want the shirts that you can put your logos on for the event. There should be several there in LA. And I do the easy thing, put it in your AI tool. I'm looking for t-shirts in Los Angeles. It's just cheating, man. This AI thing, it's just not fair. I needed this thing years ago, man. It's just not fair. I could cry sometimes. You just type it in there. I'm in LA. I need shirts. Here's the different sizes. I need small, medium, large, extra large, 2X. I need these sizes. I'm in LA. How do I get it? And the next question is, how do I actually buy them from China? And it'll give you too much information and you can just actually figure it's just cheating, man. Entrepreneurship just isn't what it used to be.
I'm
Yeah,
amazed. I'm amazed there's none here made in America. I mean, I had to go all the way to China just for a T-shirt. I mean, nobody in America making T-shirts. I mean, that's kind of like, I
They
mean,
they do. I think that's what I want you to put in your AI tool. Put it in, I would mess around and do it right now, but put it in your AI tool. It'll tell you what companies are making it in the US, and then you would reach out to them. And there's several of them. There's, I guarantee you, there are many businesses that make t-shirts of all quality, low quality, which you can sell, or high quality. All of them are in there. And in LA, I would expect quite a few. But China's produces this at such a lower price, and you have to be aware of that. They can produce this similar products at a much lower price. Until you find your new vendors, make sure you're upcharging your stuff too. Don't keep charging the same price. I did that. It didn't work.
Yeah.
So he adds 10% onto you. You need to pass that 10% on to your clients. Because mine was very price sensitive in my mind. So as my prices went up, I tried to hold my retail price steady. Can't do that. If they charge you 10%, you got to charge it on. But there are local people that you can get a better price or different price. And then you can compare who's making it local versus getting it overseas somewhere, China or any other place across the sea. But you need, to the point that we just talking about, you need more vendors to work with. And some of them will be very more open with you and say, hey, let's cut the deal like this. Let's do this. How do you order? How many do you order? And so
Yeah.
that one vendor, and if they know that they're your one vendor, they're going to take advantage of that.
Are there any other questions? And this LA Rise and Renew program is about, the wildfire recovery. So while you have Marvin, are there any questions, pressing questions that you have as it relates to your business and the impacts of the wildfires and trying to bounce back? Those are the type of questions that we like to hear too. And while you got Marvin on, maybe there's some questions in the context of what he's been talking about that could be helpful for you.
Hello, this is Felisa. Um, my question was, okay, I had an in-home daycare, and I was trying to figure out how this can help me. I hear you talk a lot about inventory, so I'm not quite sure how I would do that as a childcare provider.
Okay.
Is it my clients? I'm trying to figure that out. And then another thing he mentioned, you need to know how much you're bringing. I don't even know how much I'm bringing in. I know that I'm doing well, but I don't know those numbers actually, and
Right.
that's not good.
Correct. Felisa, you
Mm-hmm,
need to, how much do you make per child? If it does it change per the age, infants are more than toddlers, you need to understand what your goal is per child.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And um, that needs to be first. And then how are you doing that? Because if you have, is it just you? Do you have other people working there? All of
mm-hmm,
that needs to be included in the price. If you have overhead, you rent some space if you don't have it in your home. But even if you
mm-hmm,
have it in your home, you still need to put that number in there. So you have a workforce number in your overhead, you have a space number in your overhead. It needs to be more organized in that fashion. Now,
mm-hmm,
you're not selling supplies. So you have
mm-hmm,
some supplies. You may keep some extra diapers for the small kids on hand, paper
mm-hmm,
towels, forks,
mm-hmm.
new fork, plastic forks and stuff like that for them. That's, you're not selling that,
Okay.
but you are selling it. That
Mm,
needs to be included in that number.
okay. Okay.
So now you have all of these things. You have your profit. What do you want your profit to be? What's fair and equitable? 20%, 30%, 40, whatever that is, that needs to be in there. But
Mm-hmm,
all those little spoons and diapers and other stuff that you have,
mm-hmm,
that needs to
mm-hmm.
be in that number also.
Okay.
So you may not be supplier like we're talking about, but yours
Mm-hmm,
is pricing and making sure you're
mm-hmm.
pricing it correctly per child.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so when
Okay.
you tell me I'm bringing my grandkid over there and
Mm-hmm,
you're telling me it's going to cost me this much, you need
mm-hmm.
to make sure that number makes you profitable.
Okay.
Because I didn't
Okay.
have a problem with my business and making money.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, I had $9,000 a day
mm-hmm,
of cash flow,
mm-hmm,
but it wasn't profitable.
mm-hmm,
There's a huge difference. I
mm-hmm.
was selling stuff because that's what I do, but it wasn't profitable. You need to make sure it's profitable. And then when you get the money back, hopefully, when you get the money back, you need to put this in your supplies, meaning your diapers, your spoons, your napkins, your forks, your plates.
Mm-hmm.
This is your workforce. You're paying somebody, including yourself. You don't work for free.
Listen, I don't pay
So
myself either.
what's that?
I don't pay myself either.
Okay.
I know. I know.
I get it
It's
though. I
bad.
get it. Oh, I want to start my business up. I want to,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not giving yourself a true picture of your business if you're not paying yourself. It's a false
Well,
picture.
mm-hmm.
So pay yourself, and if guess what? If you need to put it back into business, put it back into business.
Okay.
But pay yourself, and all that
Mm-hmm.
needs to go into your number. I want to charge $200 a week for a kid. On
Mm-hmm.
top of that, I got to divide my stuff out over all the kids. I got 10 kids. It's called
Mm-hmm.
overhead.
Mm-hmm.
My pay and everything else. So on top of that $200, I'm going to add $75 per
Mm-hmm.
kid, per kid,
Okay.
because you got to spread
Mm-hmm.
this out over kids.
Mm-hmm.
And my salary's in there.
Okay.
And so you know for a fact, every kid you bring in, you're making the right amount of money. You're not guessing. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it seems like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Mm-hmm.
10 kids. I'm making 3 grand, but you may be
Mm-hmm.
spending 3,500.
Right, right. So you're not being profitable,
You're
right?
not being profitable.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you, thank you
Thank you.
for that information. So we're gonna wrap it up, but I think this was some good feedback. Marvin has his information there with his QR code. Like I said, we're gonna follow up with some information. We'll be able to share these slides, right, Marvin?
Yes, I'm going to send
Uh,
them to Crystal right after this.
Okay, perfect. And then we may have those living on LA Rise and Renew .org as well under a resource tab that we'll create. And great information about AI too. And it was perfect timing. Daryl, hopefully you signed up for next on August 12th webinar that's going to be talking about digital marketing and AI. We got an AI expert, a couple of AI experts. Well, all three of them, they have knowledge of AI, but specifically Levada English. And I believe Arthur Wang is going to be on there to talk about his FUD app and agentic AI that's being implemented on his platform as well. So make sure to go sign up. Like I said, LARiseandRenew.org. And we appreciate all the engagement and be on the lookout for future communication from the team. But thanks, Marvin. And
All right.
yeah, we're looking forward
All
to
right.
working with you all.
All right. Thanks, Nell. Appreciate it.